Hello everyone, this is a PioSOLVER 2.0 release video. This is our first major version upgrade since March 2015, 6 years ago, when the original PioSOLVER 1.0 was released. The project has become very popular since then. We were able to implement a lot of new features and functionality throughout the years, in big part thanks to feedback we got from our users. This release is going to be a big one. There are major improvements, major new features, and a lot of smaller fixes and additions. I'm not going to be able to go through all of it in this video. What I'm going to do instead is just to give a quick overview and play around a bit, and in the future there will be further either videos or tutorials about all other additions. As usual, there are going to be links in the video description, linking to specific parts of this video, so if you need to reference it in the future, there is no need to listen to this introduction. I'm going to start with performance improvements. I think throughout the years Pio contributed, maybe in a small percentage, to sales of high-end AMD and Intel CPUs. A lot of our users got very nice setups, very nice computers to solve trees in timely manner. It is all about to become way faster. We have two major improvements for you. One is about the new algorithm we have, PioCFR, and the other one is about optimizations in the engine, which apply to both the new one and the old algorithm. So the case of it is that Pio is about 2x faster using the old algorithm, and somewhere between 2 and 5x faster using the new one. It depends on the tree, it depends on the hardware. It's difficult to predict, but it should be at least 2x. Let's try to solve a tree to demonstrate it. So I'm going to choose my favorite benchmark tree. This is a very simple 3-bed spot with 1 bed size. I'm going to solve it to 0.1%. With our public 1.10 release. So let's go. I have a very nice computer here. That's 32 cores, a lot of RAM, so it's going to be pretty fast. Not a lot of waiting, even with the old version. So it's working pretty well. That's typical for this. That's the closer to 0 we get, the slower the convergence is. That's what we are all used to. So it took 25 seconds, let's say, if we run it 25.4, that's our solution, right? So now I'm going to solve it, the same tree in the new solver, choosing for now the original algorithm, so the same one which version 1.10 used. Build the tree, go. And let's wait. Okay, so this time it took 12.6 seconds, so that's about two times faster than the previous release, right? 25.4, 12.6, that's 2 times. So that's going to be a typical story for the trees you solve with the new algorithm. Again, this is exactly the same algorithm, just the engine is optimized. What we have as well is a new algorithm, PioCFR, which uses more memory but is way more precise, and on some trees way faster as well, especially simple trees. So let's try that. Build the tree, go. And it's done. 6.5 seconds, so almost 2 times faster than this one, 4 times faster than the original one. So that's pretty nice. Again, that's not going to be the case with all the trees. You have to experiment, but what I am recommended is just leave this automatic selection of the algorithm and see what happens. On some trees this algorithm jumps around a lot when it comes to exploitability, but at the end of the day it converges to as good exploitability as you wish. I can test it, I can let it run for a few more seconds. We'll see that it just goes to 0 very reliably. Unlike the older one, unfortunately. The older one usually had problems once it goes below 0.1, and even before that it was already quite slow. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay. So another nice thing about this new algorithm is that the solutions are pure. So when there are mixed action, if the one action is better than the other, we got real zeros here. So 1, 0, right? In the old one, there was always this fraction left, like 0.09, 0.04, and it wasn't very significant when it comes to overall quality of the solution, because after all it's pretty rare, but it wasn't pure, and now you can get pure ones, pure solutions. So another example is this race here in position, which was very rarely done by the older engine, but the new one sees that this is a true 0. So that's a very nice feature of this algorithm. I think this is something like standard CFR is not able to accomplish because of averaging. There's always a fraction left, but not in this one. Okay, so that's it. I hope it's very useful to have this. Another minor performance improvement we implemented is with memory allocator. I'm not going to demonstrate it because that would take a lot of time, but there was a use case in the old solver. When you run really big trees one after the other in a script, for example, then there was a pause between solving one tree and then unloading it and building a new one. And this pause was pretty annoying, and it was growing over time to be longer and longer. But now it's solved, so it should be reasonably fast. So now solving a lot of big trees in a queue is on the menu again. Okay, let's go to another big feature. This is a GTO trainer. That's probably the most requested feature since the beginning of this project. And actually, we have seen the value of it for many years now. In fact, we had a quizzer trainer 12 years ago in our old project called Poker Razor. I don't think anyone remembers that at this point. The reason we didn't have this in the solver is that I wasn't sure about the design, because it's not so easy to make it both useful and fun to play when it comes to GTO solutions, because there are a lot of mixed actions and it's difficult to define what the mistake is and how to measure stuff. So I hope you like our design, and I think at this point it's both very fun to play, and actually I can spend like a lot of time just clicking around, and it's also useful, so you can improve your game. The trainer is under Tools, GTO Trainer. You can also bring it up by pressing Ctrl+T. So that's the window. You can add the training packs, and the pack can consist of either one file, like a preflop solution, for example, or a postflop one, or multiple files. So if you, for example, solve a flop on 150 boards, you can load them. You can load the folder, and then the trainer is going to sample, one of the boards, then one of the hands. You're going to play through it, then it will load another one, and it will just work. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to play against a heads-up solution. It's a small micro save, so only preflop and flop are there. So there is going to be recalculation of turns and rivers on the fly. So let's see if that's smooth or if there are delays. So when we play a pack, there are some things to choose. There are a number of tables. I recommend using one. At first, we thought it's going to be useful to have two or more, but I think it's smooth enough that one is like enough. Maybe not for everyone, but for me certainly it is. You can choose if you want to just play OOP or IP, or just alternate. I'm going to choose alternate. You can also start from a specific sequence. So if you want to play, practice 3-bet pots, you can just start from raise and 3-bet and then play from there. But I'm going to choose like the whole hands from the beginning to the end. Let's do it. Okay. So that's a familiar view, heads-up table. Our first hand is very simple because the opponent didn't raise from the button, we just collected the pot. So I click deal new hand. You can disable that, you can start new hands, but I'm going to, I don't like it, I like clicking it myself. Okay, so let's play. Raise, we have top pair, so bet, I think, is in order. Here I'm going to go for aggressive turn bet as well. Okay, so did I play this hand correctly or not? To see that, we have this show hints and feedback checkbox. Let's click that, and there is some ranges here. I'm going to describe what that means in a few minutes. There is also equity, but what interests us for now is feedback on last hand and on the last action and the whole hand. So you can see that I played this okay. When I hover over it, it's going to be visible. I can also make it permanently visible as well, which I'm going to do because I like it. Okay, new hand. I think that's a call. That's probably a call as well. Yeah, now the question is, do I have a value bet here? I think I do actually, so yeah. The solver agrees. Deal new hand. This is a fold, I believe. Yes, it is. Let's make some mistakes. Maybe a fold? Yeah, fold is a mistake. According to the solver at least, to this solution. So let's see why it is a mistake. We can open hand history. That's a very useful window here. There is a hand history as well as a session history. For now, I'm going to go through hand history. So the first decision of the villain in gray, and our decisions in white rows, right? So that's the decision. I could have folded, call, or raise. Fold was a mistake, although a small one. So that's good to know. Okay, let's play some more hands. Maybe there is something more interesting. Maybe raise. I think bet, right? Oh, that's a mistake. That's interesting. Let's look at this. So this hand, the recent hand. Yeah, so continuation bet here is a mistake. I should have checked. That's a bit unexpected for me because I thought there were a lot of small cards in villain's range and there is enough like folding equity. But apparently it's not correct. So if I want to investigate it a bit further, I can open this spot in the tree browser. So let's do that. That's a spot, right? Ace, king, 2, and 8-7 of clubs is in fact a check, 100%, right? It's all in green. It's very interesting. And if we bet, there is very little folding equity, only 31%. So that's interesting, a bit surprising to me. But yeah, I'm not very good heads-up player, so what do I know? Okay, let's go back to the hands. I will try to make one more mistake. I don't know. Is it a value bet or not? I think it is. Yeah, and I collected the value as well. That's okay. New hand. This is a raise. And the bet. 3 bets. Bet again. Yeah, I'm not good at heads up, but apparently I'm not making many mistakes for now at least. So you have seen this resolving message. This is a microsave, so all the turns and reverse has to be resolved on the fly. As you can see, this is not much delay, but it might become annoying on bigger trees. So you either use small saves, which have turns in them, and then rivers are very fast, or you just wait a bit. But for me, it's smooth enough. I think this is a fold at this point. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to make some mistakes on purpose, because apparently, if I just play the way I think it should be played, I'm not making that many. So maybe I should have go back to playing actually. Anyway, let's do something stupid like 3-bar here now. Okay, this is a fault. No, it isn't. Wow, interesting. Okay, this. Yeah, this is a bet, I think. Okay, so I don't believe this is a bet, but I'm going to bet anyway. And I think I'm going to value bet this. I mean, I don't believe in it at all, but let's try to make, ace high to call, and in reality just make a mistake so we can analyze something. Yeah, so I bet the computer calls, and that's a mistake for one big blind, so quite a big one. Let's look at the history of this. On the turn already the bet was a mistake, and the river is terrible. So yeah, that's the way it works. You can go through the history using the keyboard as well. Open in the browser if you want to investigate. Another thing here is the session history. So you can go through all the hands you have played in this session ever or today. There are also overall stats that tell you what is your average mistake per hand, what is your score, what is your all-in adjusted score or range adjusted score. So those are two different ways of measure luck and show results with this part of luck removed, so to speak. So I think the important metric is this one, but maybe also this one. So yeah. I think it's all very useful. You can play a lot of hands. Actually, one day I just clicked around for like an hour, played at 300 hands, and it was interesting to see what kind of mistakes I make. So yeah. When it comes to this trainer, there are a lot of ideas we have to improve it, but our view is that we should first let our users use it and then see what the priorities are, because what happens when you develop something just for yourself and a few testers is you sometimes got sucked into some niche use case, and it turns out that those are not really the most important. So for general public. Anyway, I think at this point it's very useful, very fun to play. I recommend it. Another big feature I'm going to talk about is jobs queue. So in the current public version 1.10, there is this script generation window which you can use to create a script, like if you want to play solve like 10 flops. You generate them, you then choose if you want small saves, and then generate script, and you run the script. It's all very raw. So we improved on it greatly in this release. Instead of the scripts, there is a job queue. So that's a way more intuitive concept, and also has some functional advantages. So let's try to use it. Let's say first we want to solve 5 flops of this tree I've just showed you. So let's generate 5 random flops. You can of course type them in here as well if you want. If you don't want the random flops, just you can use the ones you prepared. Okay, so accuracy, algorithm selection, small saves, ignore memory check. This is useful usually. The name of the folder is set to it by default. By the way, I will tell Kuba to change the naming to have the date at the beginning, not at the end, so then when you sort it, it's sortable in a nice way. But that's just a small thing. Okay, so we can add it to the queue, and this, the queue wasn't empty by the way, so because I was playing around with it before. So our queue for now should be just this, right? Because that was generated just a few minutes ago. So I can run it if I want, but what I can do as well, and this is I think big improvement over the previous versions, that I can generate another job and say this time we want 10 flops to I don't know, 0.25 accuracy, and we ignore memory check as well, and queue, and now there is a queue with two jobs. So I can run them all. I can run a selected one. It's a very nice interface. You can enqueue a lot of different tasks and then just run them in this in the free time, or when the computer is free and you are sleeping or away or something. So yeah, if I click run all, it starts working. There is a log here like in the old version. There is a console as well. Just don't click on it because that can pause the solver. Those are going pretty fast, as you can see. So yeah. Okay. And if I click cancel here, it's going to stop. And I think I'm going to actually do that. Although they are so fast, maybe I can wait for 5 flops to see what happens when the first job is done. I think I've chosen 5 flops, because 10 I wouldn't like to wait for that. Yeah. So I think that's the last one, right? Yeah. So this job is done. It now started doing another one. Let's cancel for now. Okay. What we have here, there is abort calculation and save currently solved tree. So during the execution, export selected job, so we can export jobs from other people. Okay, duplicate jobs, so then we can edit it, and so on. Okay, I think there should be a bit more stats here, like how much time it took to solve, and etc. But for now, it works nicely. Feel free to give us feedback about it, what kind of functionality you would like to see on this one. Okay. Another big feature I'm going to show you is a new node lock-in interface. So to do that, I'm first going to solve a tree. This is another tree I like to use for benchmarks. Another very simple tree with one bed size, but this time it's a cutoff against big blind spot. This tree has some interesting qualities. Specifically, there are hands which are folds. They are mixes between raise, a call, and a fold, which is very rare in my experience. So I like running this. And even if you run it to very good accuracy, you will still see this mixing. Although it kind of becomes a raise and a fold, but call is still there. So I'm talking specifically about this spot here. So continuation bed. Now we have those hands here, right, which are raise and the fold. Oh, there's no call anymore. So this engine is much better. Raise or fold, but not a call. Right. That makes sense, right? Those are like some magical draws, like backdoor straight, backdoor flushes. So not good enough for a call, but can play well in big pots, right? So let's say I want to node lock something here in the C betting range. So node locking is under tree, set strategy and lock node, Control N. So I'm going to use the shortcut on the keyboard. So that's the new interface. That's a completely new design. So I hope it's much better than the previous one. The previous one was a bit raw, sometimes difficult to use, and although it was in theory powerful, that you could, I mean, in the sense that you could lock whatever you want, it required a lot of work to get it done, and we hope that in this one it's going to be much easier. So this is our strategy, and the way I think about it is I would like to, for example, change the strategy for top pairs. So I'm going to select top pair here. I can type it, just type it like this, or I can use the range explorer to choose it myself. Select none and top pair, right? So let's do that. And those are, I mean, selected hands, right? Just select it. And now I can use the slider to modify the strategy for those hands. Right, so let's say we play against someone who always bets top pair on such a board block, right? Then let's try doing that with strong hands as well. And again, I can modify the strategy for that block. Now I can say like this. I can show locked hands, so I can see which part of the range, what part of the range is already locked. So I didn't like lock all of it yet. So now let's try ace high. So select none and then ace high, right? And we are playing against unsophisticated opponent who always, let's say, always checks ace high, right? So let's do this like this and lock, right? So ace high is now never betting. So I think this is we can also compare like original strategy to the current one, right? It's a bit different. Yeah, and this way you can again just type here, use range explorer, then use sliders, and this way you can make things quite easy. And if you want a specific combo, like for the queen, jack of spades, you can do it as well and modify this, right? So, okay, so once you are done with it, you can lock all if you want. So those hands here are going to be locked as well, or you can just leave it as it is. So only those hands which are marked here are locked. So save and close, which is this combo locked node, right? If you open it again, it shows us which hands are locked again. I mean, you can show unlocked as well, or all of them. Yeah, I like showing locks or select. Okay, so I hope that this interface is easier to use than what we used to have. I think it's way more intuitive, at least. Okay, node locking is not exactly my favorite feature, so I'm going to spend more time on it. Let's jump to another thing. So what we had: performance improvements, new algorithm, GTO trainer, job queue, node locking. Okay, so now I'm going to show a minor feature, but a very nice one. So we have this tree. I'm going to solve it again because node locking thing messed up with my solution. So let's solve it again. It's not going to take much time, fortunately. In the meantime, I can mention that there are some new tree building things as well. I think I will mention them at the end of this video. Some of them are going to make your life easier, especially if you like to tinker with the tree a lot. So okay, we're done. 26 seconds to 0.1. Okay, check 100% out of position, which is not surprising. So now we are in position, and that's a continuation bad spot. King 7-2 rainbow. So as usual in those spots, the strategy is very mixed. There are not many pure bets or pure checks. So ace-ace is apparently one of them, king-king is another. So basically only sets and ace-ace are pure bets, and some combinations of ace-king, but again not that many. And pure check, yeah, top pair with the lowest kicker is a pure check, and maybe those hands as well if you solve to better accuracy, who knows, but not many of them. So that's interesting information. But what we often want to see, we not only want to see which hands bet, but how do they react if the opponent raises. So in other words, what is our bet folding range, what is our bet raising range, what is our bet calling range. And before, to get that information, you had to go to bet, then choose raise of the opponent, and now look at your calling range, raising range, and folding range, right? So that's quite a bit of clicking, especially if you want to go back and look at this. So instead there is this new, to solve this there is new strategy and react button. So it shows you what you do with the hand. After opponent bets against you or raises you. So we can click bet raising range, and it's empty. So we never bet raise on this board, which makes sense, I think. Bet calling range is this. So top pairs, over pair, but also second pair as well. That's interesting. Ace 5, ace 4. Those are some magical, draws with backdoor flushes, backdoor straights. So floats. So do they call them? I think floats. Bet folding range is interesting. Basically ace high. Ace high, queen high as well. And we are in position, so there is only check, because that ends the street. But let's say we check here, and now out of position player has a decision to take, and they have bet raising range, bet calling range, so top pair, bet folding range, so bluffs which were caught, check raising range as well. We see a set here, and some draws, right? Some bluffs. Check calling range, so like the natural line, and as well as check folding range. So I think this makes browsing very, easier, and that's very useful information to have in a lot of spots. You just quickly can click, to compare bet call to bet fold, for example, to see what hands go there where. So I like it a lot. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about are new tree building features. So the form itself looks very similar to the old one. There there isn't a major redesign, but there is this tree preview thing. We can look at the tree before it's built. And what can be done here, we can remove selected lines. So before there was this add extra lines, remove lines interface, which was possible to use, but not the most convenient, and especially not very intuitive, especially for someone who is not used to text interfaces. It was a bit of a pain to use. So with this one, you can not only verify that the tree is what you want it to be, but you can also remove given lines. So I will try to remove this donk bed on the floor because that's not very useful to have. So let's try this. If I bed and remove selected line. Yeah, I now only have a check, right? So that's great. I can also add a bed size if I want, but let's, for now at least try save and close. So what it did, it automatically added remove lines for us, but we just use this graphical interface. And now if we build the tree, we don't have this donk bed out of position, so it's going to solve way faster than the previous one. I think the previous one was like 20 seconds or 25, I don't remember exactly to this accuracy. But the new one is way smaller, so easier to solve. It should be faster. I mean, I don't remember the previous time. Maybe I just, yeah, I don't remember what it was. I think at 25. So 19 seconds here, and yeah, the solution. The solution we kind of seen before. There are also some other things here, like minimum bed size was there, I think. Maximum spread in chips, that was there before as well. And I think there's remove redundant bed sizes. So this is a useful feature, which is when you have a tree with a lot of bed sizes, some of them, like for example this one on the river, right? It's like many bed sizes, many ray sizes, and you can use that. So when the tree is built, some of them are going to be removed. So if they are close enough, the solver is going to, I mean the pure viewer is going to choose the one which is like I mean one of the group, and the way it's done is very, I mean it's quite ingenious, but also quite complicated. So I'm not going to go through that, but it's described here. You can read how it's done, and it is useful again when you have a lot of bed sizes and you just want to make a tree a bit smaller without losing a lot of options. Okay. So what else do we have? So those are the major features. I think I'm going to show one more small thing, maybe two more actually. One is a strategy distribution map. This is an interesting feature, which is under analysis, show frequency of all lines and show street strategy distribution map. So this is a very small thing, but I really like it. So on the flop you can visualize how the strategies look. So the check is 100% because there is only one option. Then there is a bet and the check, and after bet there is raise, call, fold. You can make it bigger to be more visible. Also hide actions or chosen player. So the use case for that is that you can kind of see how, I mean, you can kind of visualize the frequencies. So maybe that's useful to get an intuition what the strategy is. That you bet about half of your range, then you are raised like, I don't know, like 10% of the time or something, whatever it is. And how do you react? You never re-raise, right? Let's try this on another street. Like let's say we continuation bet gets called, and then on the turn, yeah. So on the turn there is 100% check again, so we don't long bet, and continuation bet is a bit less than half. There is never a check raise, right? So this is a small thing, but maybe a useful visualization, especially if there are more bet sizes. I think it's going to be interesting. Okay, so those are major things. I'm already 40 minutes in the video. I think I can spend a few more just going through some stuff very, I mean, in general terms. So there are a lot of new features in the solver and configuration window. You can choose, a timeout for recalculation. You can choose to always recalculate rivers. That will make the solutions way more precise when you browse them. So even, it will always spend like a bit of time trying to make a river better when you browse. This shouldn't cause visible delays, but will make the solutions much smoother. This is off by default, by the way, because we are not sure about the best defaults, but you can experiment with that. There is a lot of new options to present EV for people who want to play around with things like EV as percentage of the pod, for example. There are a lot of presets now, so it's easier to use than before. You don't have to play with the formulas directly anymore. You can show the bed sizes either in chips or in the percentage of the pod. That was very often requested. Even today, I think on Discord I got a message which requests that feature. So it's now possible. If we change this, the way it works is it shows percentages here, right? Instead of chips. So at least for I know that for some users it's way better this way. So now it's possible to change, right? And if we change back, it's going to be chips again, right? Okay, so to be honest, I don't even know all those options. There are so many of them. Yeah, a lot of behaviors. Also, this is all this stuff is for advanced users, and you don't really need to know everything here. But sometimes you think about something and you think this would be nice to change colors, or it would be nice to change the way things are presented, and a lot of the time the answer is that it's already implemented, but you have to fish around in those options to make it work. There are also customizable keyboard shortcuts for people who have some of the combinations of keys taken by other software, for example, so you can customize everything if you want. Okay, so I think that's it from me for today. Oh, maybe one more thing I'm going to show is hotness, improved hotness feature. So let's say there's a turn, we have this spot here, and new hotness allows it to show strategies for every hand, and also show strategies for a chosen hand. So let's say we have like ace of spades, queen of hearts. That's not the most interesting hand. Maybe this one is more interesting. And now the strategy can be shown on every turn card in one place. So you can see that against the bet, king, jack of hearts is usually folding. It is calling on the hard turns as well. If you catch a straight draw, you are calling as well. So I think this is nice because that allows you to visualize how a given hand plays on all the runouts, and again it's in one place, so it's maybe easier to think about it this way. Okay, that's 45 minutes. I think that's enough. 2.0 version, much faster than the previous one. GTO trainer, very fun to use. I think very useful as well. Job queue, so now you can automate the jobs in convenient way without caring about scripts. New node login interface, so this stuff with sliders and way better visualized, so it's easier to use as well. Improvements like action reacts here, that's something I like. Visual editor of the tree, if you want to edit it by hand. You can do that now without without going through those add extra lines, remove lines, text fields. Yeah, that's it for this video at least. There will be some announcement when it comes to pricing. Our business model is complicated. I mean, it's on one hand it's the simplest one, that we just release software, then update it for a while, then prepare a next major version and sell it again. But that creates some sticky situations about recent purchases. So we try to make it fair for everyone. So some users will get the new version for free, that's the most recent buyers. Some will get a big discount, and some will get a smaller discount. It depends how long you have used that. That's unfortunate that we have to, whatever we decide, there are going to be some, I guess, unhappiness and some luck involved, but it is what it is. This is the reason a lot of people go with subscription model or 1 year of upgrades. We didn't. I think a lot of people liked our decision, some didn't. It is what it is. I mean, we try to make the best of it and be fair. Yeah, I hope you can appreciate that this is not a simple problem to solve from the business standpoint, right? I just want to say that the project was very successful for us, but at some point we have to, sell our work again. It's not feasible to just rely on the natural growth of the market and just sell lifetime licenses that without option to paid upgrades. That doesn't work, and we announced it at the beginning as well. If you choose not to upgrade, then of course your old license is going to work lifetime. That was our promise, and we are going to keep it. So if you are happy with the 1.10 version, you can keep it, and we are not going to take it away from you. But I hope at least active users will strongly consider upgrading. Okay, so that's it. It's already quite late. It's difficult for me to talk to myself for 15 minutes. I hope it was at least a bit fun. So thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more updates, and don't hesitate to send your feedback.